The Roundtable is powered by Patreon, including supporters like Scratch and Quit, the webcomic Chasm Calypso, created by Alejandro Gonzalez, aka Scratch and Quit, follows the tale of two best friends in a futuristic world, exploring a mysterious sinkhole in the middle of the city. Act 2 is out now. If you like the comic, you can support them and the comic at patreon.com/ChasmCalypso, with a merch giveaway to those who pledge. He also needs help funding an animation. Link to everything in the description. If you want to support us and have your own brand shout out on the channel, join the Roundtable on Patreon. Shoutouts are our highest tier. Welcome back to Crystal Clear on the Roundtable. I'm AwestruckVox, and this past weekend was the second annual Beach City Con. Now, I actually enjoyed myself this year. I definitely had a lot more fun than last year, and if you were at the con and watching this video, I just want to say thank you for coming. Thank you to everyone who came up to me, McKenzie throughout the weekend, everyone who showed support for Crystal Clear and the Roundtable in general, all of our content, everyone who came to me, McKenzie's panel. Being a smaller con with only a few hundred people, it definitely allowed it to be a lot more intimate. Usually at cons, I've always had people who say, oh, I wish I came up to you, or oh, I wish I saw you, but since, this was 2-3 days, and it never got overwhelmingly busy, I think everybody who wanted to see me, who wanted to meet me, were able to, and I greatly appreciate that. It truly means the world. Now, on Saturday of Beach City Con, me and McKenzie Atwood, host of the Steveverse podcast, MK Atwood, the one who makes the memes, we moderated the second Q&A panel with Grace Rolek, the voice actress of Connie. And there were a few interesting tidbits that arose from the panel. Now again, since Beach City Con was a smaller con, and since I was moderating the panel on stage, I wasn't able to record it, and for what I know, at the moment, I don't see any recordings online from anyone who could have recorded it, so we are without video and audio. By extension, I can't touch on every single question that was asked at the panel, but we will discuss what I do remember that I find important to talk about, the questions that I asked. Me and McKenzie asked questions, and then it was opened up to the public. But real quick, I just want to remind you guys we have designs up on Teespring, Roundtable Black and Blue, diamond-inspired shirts like I'm Always Feeling Blue and Plan of Attack, Bingo Bongo, and so much more. I will be pushing the Teespring a bit more for a bit, just because I want to raise money so we can build more computers in the office, so we can continue to make bigger and better videos at a more consistent rate. Right now, we all edit off laptops, and obviously building a computer would be a lot faster. So yeah, if you see something you like, pick it up, support us, support the artist. All the artists who created these designs do get a cut of everything, so link to that will be in the description. Alright, one more thing. Obviously, no one is at liberty to give away spoilers, and something pretty fun on the panel was that since I was the only one who doesn't work with Cartoon Network, as Grace is a voice actress, and McKenzie hosts a podcast, and has been involved with Cartoon Network social media, they obviously know more than I do, so please don't bother them and pester them with spoiler questions. Even if you think it's harmless, it isn't the most respectful thing to do, and in the past, they've never given out spoilers, so that's not going to change, but I do want to put that out there. Asking for spoilers will get you nowhere. However, there were still some teases at the panel that I do want to discuss. One of the questions I asked Grace was her reaction and thoughts while she was recording Reunited, and she discovered that Blue Diamond broke Connie's sword. Grace's response was essentially that it was clearly a shocking moment. Destroying Rose's sword was very symbolic, but she was still very excited that Connie put her best foot forward, the fact that Connie didn't hesitate to go into battle, and even after her sword's broken, she's still hanging in there throughout the remainder of the episode. She did state, without getting into any spoilers, that Connie's sword fighting days aren't over yet, which we could have already assumed, but it's great to have that confirmation. Now, narratively, as we speculated before on the channel, it's pretty likely that Bismuth is going to construct Connie her own sword, because while the Crystal Gems have access to plenty of swords in Rose's armory, inside Pearl's gem, after all, Pearl trained Connie with regular swords in the episode Sworn to the Sword. Connie didn't actually wield Rose's sword on her own until Nightmare Hospital. That was also something we discussed at the panel. I don't believe for a second the Crewniverse would just give Connie a regular mundane sword. It's likely she may use one for a little bit, but it won't be permanent. The purpose of Connie wielding Rose's sword for so long was to serve the narrative purpose of Steven trying to fill in his mother's shoes. Steven thought he had to live up to expectations of being just like Rose Quartz. He has her shield, and Connie had her sword. But now that we know that Rose Quartz was Pink Diamond, that image of Rose that Steven had for so long was shattered right in front of his own eyes, and Steven has been told repeatedly throughout the series he does not have to be Rose Quartz, he can be his own person, then it doesn't make much sense sense for Connie to still hold on to that sword. So Blue Diamond breaking the sword, breaking the illusion of rose quartz, was a very logical step to take in the narrative. It was going to break sooner or later, but I think Blue Diamond herself dealing the finishing blow onto it couldn't have been more perfect. So after everything on Homeworld right now is all said and done and everyone's back on Earth, I think Bismuth will make a sword that reflects the crystal gems, not just rose quartz. Not Rose's vision of the crystal gems, but who they really are, who Connie really is. A sword that represents herself and her morals, not Rose's. Although I do believe it's very likely that Bismuth will still design the sword to still cut through a gem's physical form, but spare the gemstone in the process. So already we have a lot to look forward to with Connie, but it doesn't stop there. Another question I had was Grace's reaction and thoughts to Connie tagging along with Steven and the crystal gems and the diamonds as they return to Homeworld and talk to White Diamond about undoing corruption. Again, Grace was very excited. It's very much the exact opposite of the last time Steven went to Homeworld. Different circumstances, different mindset. The first time Steven went, he intended to go all alone, although he had Lars at his side. When he first went to Homeworld, he was terrified. Whereas this time he's cautious, but a lot more optimistic. And instead of abandoning Connie, leaving everyone behind, they're right by his side. She stated it was also interesting seeing how Connie's parents reacted to the situation, how approving they were of her daughter going to an alien planet, how supportive her mother was. She thinks Connie and her parents had a very interesting talk at the dinner table after the events of Nightmare Hospital, where Connie's mother Priyanka found out that Connie is a sword fighter, that she is a crystal gem, that she has been going on these missions. And just the way Grace talked about these upcoming episodes, how excited she was for everyone to see the next arc. For those of you who don't know, voice actors don't see every single part of the show, just the episodes they're involved in. For example, Grace also talked about how she didn't know Rose Quartz was Pink Diamond until the episode Connie was in after a single pill Rose, which would have been reunited, but Lex from Homeworld actually comes first in production order, so that may have actually been her first experience in learning that, hey, Rose Quartz was actually a tyrant, and more or less directly related to the main antagonist. Side note, Lex from Homeworld being in production order before reunited may explain why it's suddenly daytime and everyone's out of their wedding outfits, simply because when Lex was being storyboarded, they didn't know what anyone would look like in reunited. Could they have gone back and changed it afterwards? Definitely, but it's nothing to dwell over. Anyways, back to the main point of what I was saying, for Grace to look forward to these upcoming episodes probably means that Connie has a large role in them. And I can only imagine, when Lars accompanied Steven on Homeworld, the circumstances were a lot different. He was supposed to go to the human zoo and ended up as evidence as to why Rose Quartz was such a horrible figure. In the eyes of the diamonds and Homeworld as a whole, of course. And afterwards, he and Steven were fugitives. But with Connie, she's arriving alongside Yellow and Blue Diamond, just like the rest of the crystal gems. Connie is a part of what Homeworld would view as Pink Diamond's entourage. And Connie is definitely diplomatic. So her involvement and interactions on Homeworld will definitely make a much bigger impact than Lars, just because she has a chance to do a lot more. And again, we have the episode titles Together Alone and Escapism. We'll briefly talk about Escapism in a bit, but Together Alone itself is a parallel of the episode title Alone Together. So Steven and Connie reuniting for the rest of the crystal gems seems to be kind of a given, and I definitely believe that Stefani on Homeworld is a strong inevitability. Touching on Connie being diplomatic right quick, one of the questions from the audience was that if Connie was a gem, who would she be? Which led to us talking about Blue Diamond's court, as Rebecca Sugar did say on the podcast that Connie would be on Blue Diamond's court if she was a gem. And that makes a lot of sense. McKenzie did say that Sugar actually specified that Connie would be a turquoise, which makes me wonder when we're going to get a turquoise in the show, but I've always seen a lot of strong similarities between Sapphire and Connie. I think we're definitely due for some new gems in these upcoming episodes, so getting some interaction between Connie and said gems would just be absolute gold. Another question I thought was interesting to touch on was what Beat City character does Grace feel Connie would get along with, that she wants to see Connie interact with? To which Grace stated, Sadie. And yeah, that actually makes perfect sense, and I'm sad I never thought about that before. We discussed that if Connie was in Sadie Killer and the Suspects, she would likely be backing vocals and a violinist, and now I actually really hope we get that in an episode episode. Something about that just sounds and feels so right. Now onto Escapism. This was probably the funniest part of the panel for everyone, but since a lot of the questions were theory or spoiler questions, aka McKenzie and Grace couldn't answer, I had to do all the talking, which I did not mind at all. I was asked who I believe sung Escapism, and since Escapism isn't just a song, but as we stated before, is an episode in this upcoming arc, I stated I was going to turn away from Grace and McKenzie, to which Grace also thought, hey, I should probably look away from the audience, so my reaction won't give it away if he's right or not. And I won't go into specifics in case that was a spoiler, but going off of how hard everyone was laughing as I was talking about my theory, I may have been onto something because it seems as if Grace tried really hard to not give away her facial expression. Now, this does not necessarily mean that Connie sings Escapism or is even involved with the song, but it does likely mean that Connie is in the episode Escapism, so by extension, Grace would have saw who recorded the song as they recorded the episode. Now, the final question I want to touch on was actually someone else in the audience. They essentially expressed their concerns of, hey, a lot has been happening really fast in Steven Universe. Is this series about to wrap up? Because to them, it felt like we were approaching the finish line. Now again, they weren't at liberty to say how much they knew, but as I talked about a few weeks ago here on the channel, which I also said in response to this question, we have the movie, we have season 6, and recently they hired a bunch of new storyboarders who are working on new episodes, assumably season 7. So Steven Universe is going to go on for a few more years. But Grace did say that, although she can't really give a direct answer, there's still a lot more of the world of Steven Universe to explore, and that they're not done just yet. And I personally took that as there's more things to explore in this world beyond the diamonds. Although the diamonds not being the actual final antagonist of the series has been something that I felt was inevitable for quite a while, but I actually am working on an upcoming Crystal Clear focusing on just that you guys will get this week, if not tomorrow, on just some things I personally picked up on in Season 5 that hints towards another threat. And no, for once, it's not Sneeple or anything that's like Sneeple. But that's pretty much everything. Again, it was a really fun con. Doing the panels were super fun, even though we did 3 in a row, but I wouldn't have traded this weekend for the world. Again, thank you for everyone who came out. Thank you for everyone who came up to me, came to our panels. The next con I know I'm going to for a fact is MomoCon in May. A lot of the Steven Universe voice actors will be there. Zach, Dee Dee, Michaela, Estelle, and just like this year, a lot of the fam of this will attend as well. So a lot of other content creators who talk about Steven Universe. It's going to be an amazing con. I'm already excited for it. May cannot come soon enough. But if you guys want me, Retro Nemo, Tom to go to any other con, any con that's in your area, your best bet is requesting us as guests. It's a much more easier process when we're invited, but they usually only request content creator cosplayers if they're highly demanded. And that's just a general rule of thumb for anybody. If you want to see your favorite voice actor, your favorite show creator, your favorite content creator at any cons, request them as guests. Hit up that con's social media, see what you need to do. But that's about everything. And as usual, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think? What role do you believe Connie could play in this upcoming arc? Whenever it comes out, am I right? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, or tweet them to me at AwestruckVox or at Roundtable Vids. We're also on Instagram. If you went up the Roundtable Girls, support us on Patreon. Get access to exclusive perks, and your name can be at the end of the video. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like, share, and if you're new here, subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications to stay in the loop with all things Steven. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. AwestruckVox, signing out.